Hello and welcome to Wait, for real?
A true crime and paranormal podcast. I'm Grace.
And I'm Katie.
Katie just dropped this bomb on me. It's a good bomb.
Yeah, every time we record, this isn't the bomb, but every time we record, it's like when we start, you'd think that we don't know that we're about to record because
Nope.
we're always like mid-sentence.
But
But I know, I'm like, wait, shit, we have a countdown and everything. I'm getting a puppy.
she's getting a dog.
Getting a puppy. So by the time you hear this, it will be Friday. Sorry about that, guys. We are a little chaotic right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So long story short, we are very busy. It is the
Yeah.
holiday season. We both have very demanding jobs, and then I'm an idiot and took another job. And so like we both don't have the time or the bandwidth to be as consistent as we have been. But that
Yes.
doesn't mean that we're going away because
Right.
Beth, one of our listeners, was like, "Are you guys slowly quiet quitting?" And I was like, "No, we're not. I promise." I was like, "Well, first of all, we didn't even know that the episode last week didn't post. So that's
No,
where
we
we're at,
didn't.
guys."
We had no idea.
So sorry about that. But we promise there's new things coming in the future. Next year
Hmm.
is going to be a big year for us. I can feel it in my bones.
Yes, and
And
we're gonna shift it around a little bit, but we'll keep you guys updated on what the new schedule will be, and we're
yes.
just trying to survive until the end of the year
Yeah, we just got to get
is
through the end of
what's
the year.
happening right now. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, Katie's getting a puppy, and I am so fucking excited to
He's
go
very cute.
visit. He's gonna be so cute.
I will be showing you guys as soon as I get him.
Oh, I bet he will be involved in the podcast because he'll probably be
Oh my God,
so
yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, so thank God for magic mastering.
It's just gonna be beep, 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 beep,
Literally.
with like Archie in the background, like
Literally. Archie's in for the shock of his life. Like, you can tell a cat as much as you want that he's getting a puppy, but he doesn't understand he's a cat. So it's like
he
he's
really does not know what he's
he's
about to get into.
he has no clue. He's
It's
sleeping
gonna be so
peacefully
good
next to
though.
me. Yeah,
For now,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, we gotta enjoy our last 2 nights of sleep before puppy
honestly, I
gets
feel
here.
like Archie is sort of like a dog though. Like I
Yes,
feel
he
like he'll
is.
figure it out and be like, "That's my bro."
Yes. I'm hoping they'll be friends. Like, I think
They will.
Archie needs someone to play with anyways.
I think the
And
puppy's gonna annoy the shit out of him in the beginning though.
yes. Yes, 100%. But Archie has no problem putting people or animals in their place, so
Yeah, that's true.
he will smack that dog right in the face if he needs to, which
Yep,
is
and
what's
Pancake would do
needed.
the same.
Yeah, like that's how they communicate, so it's all
I'm like, it
good.
went quiet. I'm scared.
Yeah, right? Never a good sign when you can't see your cat and it's quiet. You're like, hold on, what
Uh oh.
chaos? Yeah, what chaos are you causing?
I don't know where he is. Wish me luck. Anyways, yeah, I don't have any life updates that are that exciting, guys.
That's okay.
I'm here.
She's reporting for duty
The
and she's
horrors
covering,
persist.
but so does she. She's doing the episode today. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
Yay. Yeah, so I knew that we were in December, so I had to do a Christmas-esque episode.
Yeah.
And I feel like Katie has done all the lore behind Christmas already.
Yes, that's true.
Um,
So proud of that.
so I was like, you know what? Time for some true crime.
Yep.
So I am going to cover a case that I have never heard of. And it's back from the early 1900s. Act like that's a million years ago. But anyway, here we are. I'm going to
Okay.
cover this one. I might have a second one. I'll either use it today or I'll save it for another episode. But
Okay.
I'm just going to jump right into it.
Okay.
So this takes place on December 25th of 1929, so Christmas Day, and this is in Stokes County, North Carolina.
Okay.
So remember 1929, not much going on in terms of technology and
Right.
wealth and any of those things. And you got to think too, like this was a culture where, you know, your whole family lived together. Usually
Mm-hmm.
parents had like a bunch of kids because they're like, you know, some of them might not make it, but
Yeah.
you know, it sounds messed up, but it's true. So this family is called the Lawson family. And so the
Okay.
Lawson family consists of Charles Davis Lawson, who is a 43-year-old tenant tobacco farmer.
Okay.
That's the dad. His wife is Fanny, excuse me. And then he has children, Marie, who's 17, Carrie, who is 12, Maybelle, who is 7, James, who is 4, Raymond, who is 2, and Mary Lou, who is 4 months old.
Good God.
Quite the crew,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So that's because it's Mary, Carrie, Maybelle, James, Raymond, Mary Lou. Yeah, so 6 kids.
Yeah.
So They are definitely poor farmers, but they have a roof over their heads. They have an established life. They had recently bought a farm.
Okay.
So, wait, did I count wrong? Marie, Carrie, Mabel, James, Raymond, Mary Lou. Am I really? Wait, hold on, guys. Am I like unable to count? No, I'm just let me have my moment, guys. That's right. Okay. Okay.
You're doing great.
So the town they lived in was near, it's called Germantown, North Carolina.
Okay.
I don't know where that is. But basically they were poor but stable. So they had food on their table every night. They had a roof over their heads, and he had recently purchased this small farm.
Okay.
So this is a huge step up compared to how other people are living at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people were renting or living on generational wealth or whatever it may be, or they were working on the land to be able to live there as a lease, that type of thing. And Charles, the dad, was very handy, and he did a lot of the renovations to the home. So he made sure that the fireplace was working, so they had nice warm air in the winters. And he put in a lot of work into the bedrooms and making sure every child felt like they had a space to call their own.
Yeah.
um, he seemed like the total family man. His wife, everybody seemed happy. There was not much drama in their lives. The kids were being raised. They were going to a small, like, little schoolhouse down the street, very much like picture perfect 1929 family, right? And a couple months prior to Christmas, so this was leading up, so probably over the summer, family started to notice that Charles was getting quiet. He was
Okay.
getting more withdrawn. He was getting easily agitated, and people were thinking, oh, maybe it's because he just bought a farm and now he's stressed.
Yeah.
Like, homeboy now has a mortgage, and I don't know if they had mortgages in 1929.
Yeah, they did.
They did. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. The money never, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is he was definitely starting to show signs of like potential like depression, or, something was going on where he was not acting the same anymore. So let's talk about the children for a second. So the oldest, which is Marie, she's 17.
Okay.
She worked at a local textile mill and is extremely close with her mom, like they're best friends, lives
Cute.
at home, but is like, contributing to the family. So any of the money she's making, she's giving back to the family to support them, like very good, close knit nuclear group.
Right.
Then the next in age is going to be Arthur, who's 16. So that's the child I was missing earlier. There we go.
Okay.
So he is definitely like closer with his father, out in the fields with his dad every day, etc. And then the younger children are all in school. So they're at that one
Right.
room schoolhouse nearby most of the time.
Okay.
So in early December, we're talking like the first week of December, Charles took the entire family to Winston-Salem, which is about an hour away, to buy
Okay.
new clothes and to do a professional Christmas photo,
Okay.
which is like very shocking to the relatives, the neighbors, everybody. Because one, they didn't have the money to spend on this. And two, they've never done this before.
Okay.
And the fact that like it'd be one thing to get a professional photo and just call it a day, but it'd be a whole nother ball game to get a professional photo and get new clothes for every child,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's expensive. And now that they look back on it, they're like, like testimony had said, like Charles would have never done this before. That was so out of character of him. But it became one of those things where, his wife was like, oh, well, we're getting a family photo. I'm not going to say anything. So I
Okay.
looked at the family photo and it's creepy as fuck. And
Yeah.
I think it's just because pictures in the early 1900s, no one was allowed to smile, and
Yeah.
everyone just looked like they'd seen war, which they
Yes.
had.
Very unsettling. Yeah.
They're creepy, so
Yeah, they are.
creepy. Um, and many people call that family photo, that portrait, the final family image.
Yeah.
And shocking, guess what happens? Murder.
Charles kills everybody. That's my guess.
So, yeah, let me paint you a timeline of what happens. So, this is Christmas Day, 1929.
Okay.
At approximately 8 a.m., Charles sends his son, Arthur, so the 16-year-old, into town to buy shotgun shells. So, shotgun shells is not like a weird thing to go buy. Everyone's hunting for their food,
Everyone has guns back
yeah.
then. Yeah.
Everybody's got a gun.
Yeah.
And some believe there's a couple of things here. One, he didn't want to witness as to what was about to happen. And two, he wanted to protect Arthur. That was his closest son. That was the person that, you know, he related to the most. Very odd, regardless. Sends the son into town to buy shotgun shells. Between 9 and 10 a.m. is when he commits the first murders.
Okay.
So Carrie, who is 12, and Maybelle, who are 7, were walking to their uncle's house to wish him a Merry Christmas, so just down the street. Charles waited behind the barn door in the tobacco barn, and he had his 12 gauge shotgun. And when the girls walked by, he shot both of them and then bludgeoned them to ensure that they had died.
Jesus
Yeah, it
Christ.
gets morbid. So, yeah, trigger.
Yeah.
He arranges their bodies before moving on. And what he does is he puts a stone beneath their heads like a pillow.
Okay.
He covers their faces with their arms, and the arms are crossed. So it's almost like creating an X
Yeah.
over their heads. So then he returns to his farmhouse after killing his 2 kids, and he sees his wife standing on the front porch. She doesn't know what had happened, obviously. She's just standing on the porch. It's Christmas morning. He shoots her, immediately kills her. In the instance of this, Marie, the oldest daughter, 17-year-old, hears this and starts screaming
Yeah.
because obviously she's like, holy crap, what is happening? She probably didn't realize that it was her dad that was doing all this either.
Yeah.
Regardless, he goes inside and shoots her, and there is some speculation that she tried to fight back and tried to get the gun from him. Then he moves on to killing James and Raymond. James is 4 years old, Raymond is 2.
Jesus.
And then lastly, he kills the baby, Mary Lou, who's 4 months old and was found with signs of head trauma instead of a gunshot wound. So again, he then goes back and rearranges every body.
The same
So
way.
the same way. So in the house, he put all the bodies have a pillow under their head or a blanket beneath their head, and their arms are crossed over their faces.
Okay.
So how does this all come about? One, the neighbor, like, how do people figure this out? Neighbors hear gunshots, but they don't think anything of it because it's literally holiday hunting. They're like, all
Yeah.
right, somebody's going to get some turkeys, whatever. The screaming was not heard by anybody else. The only reason why that they were discovered is because his son Arthur returned home, and he got home
Right.
around noon, right?
Okay.
So at this point, the murders took place ended by like 10 a.m. Okay.
Yeah.
So at noon, he returns home and he sees his mother laying on the front porch. He starts freaking out and he runs
Yeah.
inside, then finds everyone else, and then realizes his dad is missing.
Okay.
So we'd later learn that around 1 o'clock, relatives and neighbors hear a single gunshot from the woods. Again,
Okay.
something that's probably not out of the ordinary because they assume it's hunting. But in the process of, Arthur being like, oh my God, like my whole family's been murdered. I can't find my dad. He's not thinking it would be my dad, but regardless,
Yeah.
they go on basically like a manhunt to try to find him that day, and they do find him. And he had killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
And Charles was found beside a dogwood tree approximately 2 miles from the farmhouse.
Okay.
And things they found near him. So one, there were footprints pacing in a circle that suggested that he was thinking and crying and maybe debating things before
Yeah.
shooting himself. There were 2 handwritten letters with no text, only names. The contents of those names were destroyed or never revealed to the public.
That's weird.
And he also left behind a few things. One, he had packed food for himself that he had left behind unopened.
Okay.
He had packed with him some tobacco paraphernalia. And he also made a crude ring of made out of twigs. So basically like a symbolic circle type thing.
Okay.
So let's talk theories. Well, one,
Okay.
okay, so Arthur ends up, moving on from this and becomes a truck driver. And it's sad because he actually dies as a truck driver at the age of like 32 or 35
Damn.
from a car accident. But,
Yeah.
tried to make the best of his life after this. So first theory is incest and pregnancy.
Yeah.
So this is from a researcher / author named Neil Gordon. And this is a claim that was made by Charles' niece, Stella Lawson. And the rumor or the claim is that Marie confided to her friends at the mill that she was pregnant and that it was her dad who got her pregnant.
Jesus.
So there's no medical examination. There was no medical examination performed at any of the bodies.
Okay.
It was basically like, hey, they're dead. They were shot. That was like
Yeah.
the medical
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
examination. Makes sense. 1920s. So they never were able to confirm if she was actually pregnant, but that is probably the strongest rumor and storyline that people talk about because even 100 years from then, that's like probably the most well-known theory of what happened.
Okay.
Next is going to be that Charles had a head injury that caused him to go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because in 1928, while Charles was working on another farm, he fell and got a very bad concussion. Obviously, they don't treat those things, but he had really bad headaches and mood swings. And again, like we said earlier, possibly depression. And
Right.
this could be pointing to some neurological trauma that we don't know about.
Yeah, but that's
Another
just like
one.
speculation,
Yeah,
right?
these are all sort of speculation at this point. I think
Yeah.
the most likely one's going to be the incest one, which sucks. But
Yeah.
next one is financial stress. So again, he had recently purchased the farm, and so that gave him a lot of pressure. And then on top of that, um, they believe that he had been intending to kill them and that like had bought the clothes and did the Christmas photo because he wanted it to be like the last big thing.
Yeah.
And that like spend the money, it doesn't matter. I'm going to kill everybody anyways,
Yeah.
which is jacked up. And I mean they had said like he was doing renovations on the house that they like couldn't afford.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how that was playing a part. Then lastly, the other theory would be psychosis or basically a mental breakdown.
Right.
So the methodical nature of the shootings, the body arrangements, the pacing circle, the letters all suggest some deep like psychological disturbance. I don't know if it was something where, he was I don't think it was like a ritualistic situation. I think it was mostly like in this if we're going with this scenario, I think it's just he had like a psychological breakdown.
Yeah.
Um I don't know. But literally the next year, this is pretty morbid to me, but the next year, the house became a tourist attraction. So people paid 25 cents to walk through the house. The Christmas cake that the kids had baked that morning was still sitting out as part of the display.
Weird.
And at the time, there was a famous musician who wrote a song about the Lawson family massacre, and he would sit and play it for people as they walked through the house.
Oh, great.
And they did not clean up anything,
Right.
so they were walking through the
Like the
blood
crime
and
scene. Yeah.
yeah. And like I said, Arthur ended up dying in a truck accident in 1945. He was 32 years old, and he was obviously not condoning the fact that it became a tourist attraction, but they don't really say too much about like what happened to him after the fact.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they really had a trial at that point. So
Right. Right. Yeah.
yeah, so that is the story of the Lawson family massacre.
That is quite sad.
Right? Yeah, these are
Yeah.
not good stories. Like, sorry guys, but these are not happy at all. My bad. But it's Christmas.
Good God. Right on Christmas.
Yeah, you ready for another one?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is called the Ashland tragedy, and this occurred we're going back even farther, 1881.
Hmm.
So this took place in Ashland, Kentucky on December 23rd. So 2
Okay.
days before Christmas, guys. And let me give some background into Ashland itself. So Ashland in 1881 was a booming industrial town. So riverboats, ironworks, busy rail lines, all these things, it was a very busy town to be living in. And the
Yeah.
winters were really harsh and, the summers were beautiful, but many families lived in tight quarters because that's all they
Yeah.
could afford at that time.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the Gibbons family. So the Gibbons family lived in a house that sat near the Ohio River. And on the night of December 23rd, a couple of things happened. One, the parents were visiting relatives across the river, and only 3 teenagers were home. And 2
Okay.
of them are Gibbons kids. So Fanny Gibbons, who's 14, Robbie Gibbons, who's 17, and then Fanny's friend, Emma Carico, let's go with that, who's 14.
Okay.
So the 3 teenagers are in the house, and the parents are across the river seeing relatives. And they have a neighbor who goes by Captain John Means, who lived
Okay.
next door. And he later becomes very important because his testimony is probably the most factual. So they believe the timeline is that a murder occurs around midnight on the 23rd, leading into the 24th.
All right.
So what are neighbors reporting at first is, one, they see a strange glow along the river. They hear crackling noises and they smell smoke.
Hmm.
So Captain Means comes out of his house and he sees flames in the Gibbons house. And he obviously, like other neighbors do, immediately runs over to try to save the family.
Right.
He doesn't know who's inside. He just knows he needs to get in and save them.
Yeah.
And when he and the other neighbors entered, they actually were stunned to see that the fire is not what killed anyone.
Yeah.
The 3 teens had all been murdered before the fire had been lit,
Mm.
which obviously makes sense if the murderer was trying to cover their tracks.
Right.
So I'm going to talk about the wounds and things. Sorry, trigger warning. This sucks. But Robbie, again, is 17. His skull was smashed with a blunt object. He had deep cuts around his head and torso, and he was found near the fireplace. Fanny, who is 14, had brutal head wounds and had signs of sexual assault.
Mm.
Emma, who is also 14, had similar injuries to Fanny and was likely attacked while asleep, so they don't believe that she was able to fight back because she was asleep when she was killed.
Okay.
So investigators were able to determine that, again, the killer or killers tried to burn the bodies before they
Right.
could even, they wanted to destroy the evidence,
Right.
And how they started that fire was using coal oil. So basically, they had taken oil from coal, dumped it
Mm-hmm.
all around the house, and then lit it. So the fire damage was extremely localized, which suggests that the murderers started the fire and did not think the whole thing through. Like, they were very much like, oh my god, pour something, throw it on, let it on fire and run. Like, they
Yeah.
didn't. Oh, I probably hit my mic and it made it loud. They didn't think things through too well.
Right.
So, investigation time. Police are obviously overwhelmed. They are a small town law enforcement group in the 1880s. Let's be realistic. It's probably like a couple of bros sitting in an
Yeah.
office having some guns. There's no rhyme or reason to the work they probably did.
There's never been a murder before
No,
in their
like,
town, I'm
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And also, you got to think, this is very gruesome. There's children that were victims.
Yeah.
The timing on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And it caused major public hysteria.
Yes.
So the police were doing anything and everything to arrest anyone they could think of. They were like, okay, this person, anyone they could find, right? But the 3 men that they arrested that we later learned to is, one is George Ellis, who was a mild-mannered man who worked as a bricklayer. William Neal, who is an older gentleman and he's a known troublemaker. And Ellis Craft, who's a general laborer and he's more of a drifter reputation.
Okay.
So, under intense pressure, the first person to confess is George Ellis. So, he claimed that all 3 of them were in on this, and that William Neal and Ellis Craft had planned to assault the girls. So they entered the home late that night, and a struggle broke out between Robbie and the assailants.
Right.
And Neal and Craft murdered all 3 of them. And in the scary mindset of basically in the rush of everything, George stood there and helped them burn the house. So the problem with this, though, is that his storyline kept changing as they were investigating more. So
Right.
he was changing the details. And he also like appeared terrified of the other two guys,
Yeah.
like absolutely scared shitless about it. And he tried to like recant saying that he felt threatened or coerced into it, all these things.
Yeah.
The big takeaway with this, though, is that the public freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the town really exploded. Like the newspapers sensationalized the murders daily. There was, mob mentality here. So, a crowd of people that were outside talking about it and doing like a
Like a
vigil type situation. Like hundreds of people tried to storm the jail to kill the guys.
yeah.
You know, the governor had to send a state
Oh my
militia to protect
gosh.
the prisoners.
Yeah.
And like crowds were throwing rocks and firing shots and threatening to burn the jail down, like through the windows, all these things. And in 1882, so let's think, this happened on Christmas Eve of 1881. In 1882, a mob succeeded. So they stormed the jail where Ellis was being held. They dragged him through the streets. They lynched him from a tree in front of
Jesus.
hundreds of people. And his last words were that Kraft and Neal were the real killers, which then reinforced the public's fury, right?
Yeah.
So from here, they had trials for Kraft and Neal. Chaotic. Also, I pictured trial being a fucking joke back then. Like,
Yeah.
good luck.
Right.
Basically, a lot of problems with the trial was one, anyone and everybody could go to the trial. So spectators are in the courtroom yelling at the guys, spewing threats. Jury tampering was super common and
Just
suspected at this
running
point.
rampant. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and the
They're
thing is most of the evidence laid on Ellis's shaky confession. So like
right.
it's not like they had much to go on. And
Right.
there wasn't a lot of physical evidence that tied them to the house either. They didn't have the DNA. They didn't have any of these things that they have now.
None of that. Yeah.
And of course, Neal and Kraft were like, no, he did it. No, he did it. And they just kept pointing
Yeah.
fingers at each other.
Yeah.
So super fucking crazy. But basically, the town was like, we're convicting both of you. We don't trust either of you. And they were both sentenced to death by hanging. So the executions took place publicly,
Yeah.
and thousands of people went to it.
Yeah. That
Which
doesn't
is,
shock me. There's a lot of like public execution back then,
which is
especially
insane.
hangings. Like they were hanging squares.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of doubts surrounding the verdict of this, obviously, because now we can look back on it and be like, no shit. But, a lot of people think, like historians, when they look back at all the evidence and things, which is not me, because I'm just doing the basic lines. Ellis, they believe, is the only sole killer. They believe that.
Oh wait, not George Ellis. Ellis was the other guy's first name.
Hold on. Oh no, George Ellis. Sorry, George Ellis.
They think
They believe it
George
was him.
Ellis was the only killer.
They believe it was George Ellis was the only killer. The other two guys were just bad news, and they just fed into it. That's what a historian said.
Why?
Or all three were actually innocent.
That's worse.
I know.
There's no way that they well, but
So
why? Like, so they're like, well, could go either way. Could have just been George Ellis, and I'm like, it sounds like they're not basing this on any fact. Because how can you come up with those two completely opposite theories?
So the reason why there's okay, some modern researchers and like historians believe that one, it was potentially a local man that had a violent history that was overlooked at the time.
Yeah.
Two, they believe that Ellis's confession implicating Neal and Kraft like seemed very rehearsed and like he been told several times like what to say. And the crime and the nature of the crime they believed was done by one person, not several. But
Okay.
at this time, we'll never really know
Right.
who did this, who committed the crime.
Yeah.
And, this case became such a major symbol of like the mob mentality and mob justice of like, we don't care what happened, but we're going to say this.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be how it is. And Kentucky ended up changing like aspects of its legal procedures as a result of this case. And this case is actually talked about in law school
I believe it.
for coerced confessions. Um, yeah. So it's technically unsolved, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, like nobody knows.
Yeah. But both of them are super morbid, so sorry.
Wow, that
Not
is
sorry.
wild. I haven't heard of either of these cases.
I'm so proud of myself.
I'm so proud of you. I
Thank you. Thank you. I needed that.
was like,
I did
she's
it,
for sure
guys.
gonna cover something that I know. And no, here we are.
Here we are.
Archie's
Yep.
staring at me. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here.
Is he going to join the camera?
Yeah, I think so. Come here, buddy.
Do, do, do.
Oh no.
No?
He was just turning around. I was
Oh,
like,
he's like,
oh, he's
fuck you, mom.
coming. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like,
So if
oh.
you made it this far, one, thank you so much for listening.
Hmm.
Two, I hope you're seeing Archie on the camera right now. I don't know if he's going to show up, but
He's not.
if you are listening to us right now on some like platform like podcast or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we are also on YouTube, so you could watch us in our chaos.
Yes.
And our YouTube channel is at Wait for Real Pod. Our social media channels are also the same thing, at Wait for Real Pod. If you want to tell us a Christmas story, morbid or not, you can send us an email. So our email is waitforrealpod@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on our socials. We're pretty good about checking these things. I would say pretty good. We're going to say that.
Okay.
You're better at it than me. So if there is anything you want to do to help support us, one is share this podcast with a friend,
Yes.
subscribe to us, like, follow, all those things, give us thumbs ups, the usual. And also, if you want to financially support us in any way, it is the season of giving. We have a link in our show notes to buy us a cup of coffee.
Yes.
And we need that because we broke, bitch. Yeah. I mean, that's about it for me. I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm bored. Help me.
I love that.
Yes. Is there anything else you wanted to add for this week, Katie?
I think that's it, but tune in next week to see the puppy.
Puppy, puppy, woo! All right, friends, we will see you later, and we'll leave it as always.
Go to therapy.
And don't forget to leave the lights on.